You're still here? Well, I really don't know what to say. Come here, let me give you a big fucking smooch. Okay, so over the weekend I finally ended up making it back to a locals. It's been a while just because life just gets in the way sometimes and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just not always the most important thing. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. Point is, I went X1. Unfortunately, we only played 3 rounds though because like 4 people showed up late and we're also missing a couple too, so we couldn't play with like our 15 to 16 that we usually have. So we only played 3 rounds, but so like X1 is like whatever. But I was undefeated until the last round. First round I played against PKBA. I won that one 2-1, I think, because I lost the die roll. He took game 1 because I opened no interaction, and he just like was free to just like make Dragoon and like double Fog Blade and just like everything else. So that was kind of unfortunate. Yeah, so that sucks. Game 2, I went full combo. There was nothing he could do. And then in game 3, he went first again, but I opened like double Dark Ruler, so he's playing like Nadir in the deck too, so he would end on like Schism, double Fog Blade, Dragoon, Rusty, and something else. It was the other card was like it wasn't like a point of interaction. But anyway, I Dark Rulered him, and then I went to use Dawnwalker, and he flipped Schism after it resolved, or actually he chained it. He chained Schism to it, and then I just Dark Ruled again, and then proceeded to combo him into Oblivion. Anyway, round 2 I played against Flunderies. I think I won the die roll. I went full combo. And then game 2, he went first, and he opened with like M-Pen, and then he had the ability to like barrier statue on my turn. And then we went into game 3, and he, it was pretty funny. He double imperned me, but I still ended up being able to make Hot Red, and I had a Judgment. And then he went, and his hand was like, it was like Pot of Duality, Pot of Prosperity, Apex Avian, M-Pen, Barrier Statue is what he drew for turn, and something else, I don't remember, but the point is he had no starter, he had no play, so he used the pot and he got into a level 1 so he could activate the map, but I think I ended up judgmenting the map for some reason. I don't really know why I did that in hindsight, and then I negated his normal summon and he just scooped because he had no plays. So that's unfortunate for him. And then in the 3rd round I played against Invoked Eldritch Dogmatica with Schism, and that matchup is, you know, it's definitely hard, but I think he won the die roll. He got game 1. Game 2 he just conceded after I ended up resolving Speeder through his hand traps, and then game 3 he went like Anaconda for DPE and then like set 4 or something like that, so something along those lines, because he used like Magician Souls and did a bunch of things. But anyway, I baited all of his back row, and then we got down to the very last back row, and he my play was like normal summon Junk, target Converter, and I had Caligo on board as well, just through trying to like play through stuff. I already used Stardust, Synchron, and Grave. He hot carried it, and his last back row was Conk, so I kind of got shafted because I only had 1 more tuner left. It was my last card. So yeah, not really a ton I could do there. It was another kind of one of those situations where we're going into the last game and I just didn't open any of my sideboard, and just couldn't get there, unfortunately. So we ended up losing that out. And just the guy I played is a good friend of mine, and that guy just has fucking everything at all times. It's just like he has like just like the perfect points of interaction to beat the hand that I have every time we play. So that sucks. But yeah, all in all, I felt like the deck was fine. I don't really have any complaints about it. We can just get into the list. So we got 3 Stardust Synchron, of course. I mean, there's no reason not to play 3 of this. 3 Junk Synchron. I don't really have to explain much of this stuff. 3 Converter, and 3 Doppel Warriors. These are like your main core, and then everything else is just kind of like supporting or interaction. Not really a ton to say about this stuff. Then we got 3 Crow. So the list that I'm showing in the video actually isn't the exact list that I played in the tournament. It was just 2 of this guy, and I had tunings in the deck, but I think I'm going to take him out going forward, because a couple of the times tuning was, actually more often than not, tuning was redundant, and There was one time where tuning ended up bailing me out, but it was just not good, man. Like, a lot of the time the mill was like an imperm or something, or like a talent, and it just, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try without it. But originally I cut this guy down to 2 for something else that I'll get to later. But since I took the tunings out, I put him back up to 3. I didn't exactly miss the 3rd one in the tournament, but I think my main logic there was I can search this off Cupid pitch, so if I'm sequencing, I can get into this, but then it kind of defeats the purpose of like why you play this card in general, because this card is supposed to be like a failsafe in case they like interact early. Then you can kind of punish them with this, and then by putting this to 2, you're losing consistency on that. So I don't know. I'm gonna try it at 3 again though, because I've always been a fan of 3 of it, but like 2 is like okay. And then of course we have the 3 Dawnwalkers, because this is just like your best starting play. A lot of people will either negate this guy or negates Chaos Ruler, so yeah, it's really good. The discard's nice as well, and then you got your bricks, the Ant, the Cyber Synchron, and the Stardust Trail. I actually didn't draw these very much, which is kind of surprising because usually these 2 are just glued to my hand. But I think the last year when I played, I drew this like almost every round, at least one of the games every round. I think I only drew this guy twice. But I think I played 9 games, so it's like, you know, draw twice of 9 games. It's like, okay. I think, no, I didn't open this guy once. In my round 2, the way I made Hot Red was I upstarted and I drew this. And I hadn't normal summoned yet, so like, it was the exact card that I needed to like put up a negation. It was like the single only card in my deck that makes Hot Red with Chaos Ruler. So it was pretty funny, kind of clutch. Like, in most situations that would be really bad if you top deck that guy off upstart, but it was like literally the perfect moment. Pretty good. Synchro Overtake, yeah, there's not really much I gotta say about this. And then you got like all your one-ofs: Stardust Illumination, Reinforcement of the Army, Monster Reborn, and then these 2 are the other cards that I'm gonna try instead of tuning, just because this, a lot of the times, could have been really clutch, where like when I had tuning on my hand, if it was this could have been like insane. And a lot of people kind of praised this card, and I feel like I haven't really tested with it very much, so I'm going to try it again. And I can kind of see the appeal as well, because if I had this against like the Eldritch player, it's just like really good because we can shut off his conk, we can shut off his punishments, and his imperms, and like those are the cards that we're like heavily losing to. So yeah, I'm gonna try this again. And then the last cards are Called By and Upstarts for the one-ofs at least. Yeah, so I think going forward with this deck, I'm just gonna always try to make it 40 with an upstart, so that it's just like, you know, effectively 39. Just try to go for like as consistent as possible. This never came up in time. It was really clutch for that one time I drew this guy. All in all, it was like okay other than that, but I think it's just like the math is there, and just it's just for more like principle's sake that I should probably just play this card and just try to keep this to 40. But then it's like, you know, in doing that, we're gonna add utility with like Midbreaker and Foolish, and that kind of is gonna make us lose consistency to a degree, because now we don't have access to tuning to get to more junks. But it's almost like, I mean, we have 3 junk, we have 3 converter, we have 3 of this, you know, and then this can also send Doppel, it can send Converter, it can send Stardust Synchron, it can send Trail, if for whatever reason we had to use this to send Stardust Synchron. So yeah, I don't know, I think I like the upstart. I'm going to continue playing it. It was pretty good all in all. I just, you know, I'm kind of at a point with this deck where I just need like the most consistency I can possibly get. And then the interaction that I chose to play was the Dark Rulers in the main deck. This was very good. This used to be Valor. I used to play Valor, Tactics, and Impermanence, but I feel like Ash Valor just kind of aren't doing enough for me. I don't know, it just seems like every time I use it, even if it is in like the correct spot, because I'll admit sometimes I do misplay and hit the wrong thing, but it's just mostly against stuff that I'm just, you know, I'm out of the loop on, stuff I haven't played. But even when I hit the correct targets, it seems like my opponent can just always push past the Ash or the Valor. And Impermanence is just Impermanence. You know, like I can activate this as a 6 card. It's very good. I can activate this at the beginning of my turn playing into a board. The talents was like okay. I only got to use the draw 2 once, but I was already losing anyway. And my draws were this and something else like a spell, but just didn't do anything. I never did get to see this. I opened a ton of hands that were just all engine, and when I did open like the Dark Rulers or the Imperms, I would see multiples of them, which is fine, you know, but yeah, this was fantastic, honestly. The fact that this isn't once per turn is just kind of nuts. So I'm going to keep playing this going forward in the main deck. Obviously, it used to be in the sideboard. This is always somewhere. But yeah, I don't have access to droplets, so there's that as well. But even then, droplets is like neither here nor there, because sometimes the discard can be good, but at other times it can just kind of deplete your hand to the point where you can no longer just push past things. The extra deck, there's not really a lot to talk about in here, but I will say what needs to be said. We have one Celestial Star, one Metal Marcher, one Herald of the Arclight, a Cupid Pitch, of course. I summoned this, I think, twice. It was pretty good. I made a Omega with it, and I think I made a Hot Red with it by... yeah, it was like this and a Doppel Token with the increase by 3 from Junk. Something like that, I think. But yeah, I made this twice. It was pretty good. Junk Speeder, Cell Synchron, Librarian, Junk Warrior. I actually never summoned Librarian, but it was just... the opportunity was like... never arose where I was just cleared to do whatever I want, so I never got to summon that. Charge, Dragster. This came up once. It was like fine. Chaos Ruler, Crystal Wing, Omega, Hot Red, and the last card is Baron de Fleur. I ended up cutting satellites for this just because I have a combo that I posted that's just Converter plus Tuner and then like normal Junk Special Converter. It's like a Junk Synchron plus Junk Converter combo that ends you with this Crystal Wing and the Herald of the Arclight in the extra monster zone with, of course, a Cyber Synchron in your grave to protect it. So, I mean, I never missed Satellite. There was never an opportunity where I like really needed to summon it. Of course, it could have been good against the Eldritch opponents, the Eldritch Invoked, whatever, but I don't think I even had a line to get into Satellite that game anyway. But yeah, it was like this extra deck was okay. This only came up once, so maybe I could cut this for Satellite, because when Satellite comes up, it's like huge. It's like very important whenever you need that card, but I'm unsure right now. The Baroness was ridiculous. That card is so nuts. The fact that you can just you can just make it with like Excel and a token, it's hilarious. Like you make them really early on in the combo if you haven't normal summoned yet, or like if you're holding Doppel in your hand with what's his face, Sort of Synchron Engrave. But yeah, no, it's really good. Side deck was 3 Nibs, this stuff for back row, and Red Reboot, because we just really need to be prepared for the back row matchups. This is just extra for combo because we already have Dark Ruler, Talent, and Impermanence in the main deck. So this is just like a little extra, and we can put the Evenlies in against combo as well, depending on the given matchup. And then your going first stuff, these. Sometimes I also put Reboot in when I go first, just because like Impermanence is everywhere. So if I know my opponent is playing Imperm, if they showed it to me, I will put the Reboot in as well, just for some additional protection for our combo. But yeah, I thought the sideboard was fantastic. There's really nothing I would change about this. It kind of covers all your bases. I think Leo has pretty much solved how you should build your sideboard. Of course, the only difference between his board and my board is he mains these and sides Dark Ruler, and I did the reverse. But yeah, all in all, pretty good. I wish I could have played more rounds so I could have more data for you. Still ended up with second place, so my tiebreakers were decent. Not really a ton else to talk about, seeing as how I've posted about this deck a lot. But I just want to continue to update the profile as I test with it, just so you guys can see what I'm doing with it. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.